Mr. Chairman, I want to begin by thanking you for not just this hearing, but for asking a lot of tough questions about China and United States relationships before many members of Congress did that, and I just appreciate your leadership on that. And also, Admiral, thank you so much for your service and for your wife's service. I know that's a partnership team, and for all of your staff, I know the heavy work that they have to do just to come to a hearing like this. Mr. Secretary, Mr. Scheer, we appreciate so much all of you being here. I'm going to try to ask my questions so that they can have short and succinct answers, not because I want to cut you off, because I'd love for you to extrapolate any way you want in the record, just because I only have 5 minutes and this microphone goes dead. But Admiral, I looked at your testimony, and as I read that testimony, China currently has 290 ships in their Navy. Am I accurate in that assessment?
Roughly, yes, sir.
Roughly. And that number doesn't exist in a vacuum. Isn't it significant that we try to extrapolate or actually get some idea of what their shipbuilding plan actually is, so we know how many ships they're going to be building over the next several months if we want to try to project our strength against theirs?
Of course.
Is that a significant component to our evaluation?
It is part of a broad evaluation of China's
and if we look, according to the 2009 Military Power of People's Republic of China report to Congress produced by the Pentagon just a few months ago, the estimate was that they had 260 ships. Is that correct?
I would have to go back and
let me just tell you for the record it was, so we missed it by about 30 ships. How many ships do we currently have roughly in our Navy now?
In the Pacific Command, I have access to about 180 ships.
Overall in the Navy, any idea?
About 283.
So we got about 283. According to the report that was given us a few months ago, they had 260 ships. Again, just as one component, fewer ships than we did. According to your testimony, they have 290 more ships than we do. Again, I know that's just one component to look at, but it shows the importance, I think, and the significance of having some idea of what kind of shipbuilding plan they are undertaking, so we know whether that 260 ships were accurate or the 290 ships were accurate. Mr. Secretary, I'd like to ask you if the United States currently has a shipbuilding plan, not whether it's being modified, not whether you like it, not to even ask you to tell me what it is, but do we currently have a shipbuilding plan for the United States of America, as you know it from the Department of Defense?
There is a plan as delineated in the program and in the President's budget, yes.
So it exists.
Yes.
Now, are you aware that by law, the Department of Defense was supposed to give the United States Congress that shipbuilding plan when they submitted the budget so that we would know and could make the same kind of comparisons that the Admiral talked about were significant in knowing about the ships that the Chinese had, that we were supposed to have that by law submitted to us at the time the budget was submitted?
It's not our intention to ever ignore any requirements from Congress.
Just asking whether you know that that was the law or not.
No, I did not.
Okay, and the question I would ask you, Mr. Secretary, if you could supply for the record at some particular point, if that shipbuilding plan existed, I would just submit to you, one, the law required that we get a copy so we could make that same kind of comparison. Secondly, this committee unanimously had a congressional inquiry demanding that you comply with the law, the Department of Defense, and give it to us. To date, we still haven't had it. And I would just ask that you'd submit for the record to us the legal justification of why you refused, or the Department of Defense refused to give the United States Congress their shipbuilding plan. And then I'd also ask you, if you want to submit for the record, because I won't have time to have you in my minute and 15 left, how we can legitimately talk about a lack of transparency with China when we won't submit our own shipbuilding plan to the United States Congress. And Mr. Scheer, I would just ask you, again, shortly for your testimony, if you could submit to us for the record. I was excited to hear about the victories that we've had in wins with intellectual property rights and the economy with China, and we want to get those publicized because I don't hear them, anywhere that I look or study. If you would submit a list of those victories that we've had this year for the record, both with intellectual property rights and in the Chinese economically, for the record, we'd love to have them so we can talk about them and get them out. And with that, gentlemen, thank you so much for your service. and for being here. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.